Space Station, so let's hear what they had to say.
Hide in the shadows no longer.
I think Kel'Thuzad is really strong hero. Every combo he lands, it's really fatal for your team.
I'm kind of scared of him, man. It feels like no heroes do the amount of bursts he does. Like, being almost one shot on a tank is really scary to deal with.
I think the Glacial Spike is actually really good in this meta just because with people not grouping as much for competitive play, the Glacial Spike like allows you to have make plays like on your own without your tank being there, and then other people can follow up on you, which makes him really strong in that sense.
He has the potential to definitely just quickly take over a fight. Like, he's super difficult to siege or to defend a siege against because he can throw chains on your walls.
His biggest weakness is so that he can get Dovin very, very easily. He needs a lot of protection, in my opinion. But if he is in a very, very good sieging position, and if he has a lot of protection, he can deal tons of damage.
Death is a gift. Allow me to share it.
That supervillain skin for Kel'Thuzad, though, it is awesome.
It is? Is that the ghost one, or there's a different one that I haven't seen yet? Am I crazy?
What are you talking?
Are you?
The second one that was on the
Yeah,
screen.
the one where like half of his jaw is showing.
Yeah, it's a villain.
Is it? That's what it's
Yeah,
called?
it's like
I'm
the
terrible
space,
with these
it's
names.
like the Space
you know,
Lord Leoric
like
one. It's in the same universe.
Yeah. Okay. So
I don't think it's called villain, but I like thinking of him as a villain.
yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It does look dope, and some of the colors that we going on there, the blue one specifically,
Yeah.
I'm liking it.
Yeah, that's the one I like to play too. We've got map 2 just about ready for the draft to begin. It's going to be Dragonshire,
For Roll20.
chosen by Roll20.
They're showing that they're liking the map here a little bit more than they have in the past. Small battleground for Roll20, but they originally prioritized Tomb so highly. I have always felt like it was only fitting that eventually they consumed Dragonshire in North America. Dragonshire, without a doubt, is my favorite map in terms of the highs, the lows, wins, and wears in North America. It seriously is amazing to me on how similar it is to Tomb, but how not similar it is in terms of pick priority. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some huge difference draft and playstyle-wise, but the core elements and teams that thrive on one seem to just neglect the other.
I really like the drafting style of Roll20 on Dragonshire 2. They always have somebody in the bottom lane for prismaticism to stall things out, either Chromie or Nazebo. Generally, this is someone who can also follow up with Garrosh pulls, because this still is a favorite for them to play Garrosh on. And then they have the strong top laner for Goku, and then Glaurung can play either a Falstad or a Zeratul to shark around and look for picks wherever he's needed in the lane. They have a very specific setup for what they like to play. Dahaka would have played into that, so Space Station are going to remove that. But let's remember, this does leave open Medivh. Does Roll20 feel like they have to ban him?
I'm going to say doubt it. I don't know. But they have shown more respect towards other Medivhs than maybe I expected them to as a team. It's now kind of like, is the Medivh ban the standard that most teams in North America would? And if you're not trying to show any strategies right here from Roll20, it's like, is it worth the ban? Maybe not, but most teams are willing to. So it's kind of, again, keep as vague as you can, give as little information as possible. And I feel like the Medivh ban could play into that exact approach. It's double-edged sword, really.
If not Medivh, maybe an ETC. Roll20 are in the second pick position again. But they also know now that they're maybe not playing versus Casanova Warrior. Does this change things for Daihu? Looks like no. They're still going to ban ETC.
So then, Kel'Thuzad? This is it? This is the section?
It seems right.
It does seem...
Something about that just feels right in my heart.
You know, Spacestation Gaming, I want to put it past them here. They will not let that one loss waver their confidence. They are going to let Tiger JK be the Kel'Thuzad he was honestly born to be. Maybe that was the beginning. We're memeing it, but what if that was actually the beginning of a genuine role swap? That is.
Yeah?
Think about it. When they've maybe had problems, who was the guy who moved off support and played false set?
That's true.
That was Tiger JK.
It was Tiger JK.
So why not with the Kel'Thuzad? Oh, wait, because that's really hard to do. That makes sense. That's why you wouldn't do that.
Also, Tiger JK is a really good support player. I don't want him to switch.
We were talking about Uther, the lack of Uther. It got picked in the last game, and we're kind of, why? We know why now. Daihu is the answer. Not specifically Daihu, but the team to work around it. Uther seems to be the one that anybody who isn't specifically Tiger JK might feel comfortable on.
There they are. Falstad for the rotations, the picks, Garrosh, because it's Roll20. They are currently 10-0 on that hero.
I want to say I'm impressed, but when your record is what, right now it's 17-18-1, it's kind of hard to find the one, you know? I'd be more impressed if you could list the
19.
hero that Justin lost on, can you? Don't look. See, you couldn't do it off the top of your head.
Oh, I can't anyway because this is all of phase 2.
That's true.
So I would have to go down and look at the drafts for part. They were playing versus Even in Death. It was on Sky Temple. So maybe TC, maybe or Arthas. They like Arthas on Sky too.
Yeah, you're right. I think it was probably the Arthas, if any of them.
Anyway, what's happening here?
I mean, we got the same rotation. It's, you know, conveniently enough, Gilly, when you take a minute to glance back, about none has happened. Other than the Zod's about to be locked in. I don't think we'll get ourselves a Zera, but maybe. We saw the Falstad's up on this side. It makes sense to maybe take it as a direct counter. Just, let's be real here, that high of a priority seems out of place. We go with Gul'dan and Vola. Not necessarily what you would expect, but Gul'dan's wave clear is really going to be able to help Spacestation Gaming play off. And again, these teams are going to be probably hiding things, and more importantly, Spacestation, without having their main roster, their drafts can go about any direction. I think first pick Uther is kind of indicative of showing that.
Yes, definitely so. This is a Rhaegar, Kharazim kind of team. So the first pick Uther is different. It is just way different. Not bad different, just way different from the priority that Spacestation normally go into.
I think this is a really safe ban out of Roll20. I like it a lot. Just because the only way you can see that comp out of Spacestation getting kind of out of hand with that high Uther would in fact be this Ariel ban, but they also are kind of like, is it worth the ban? Because you know that high Uther is purely off the fact of, you know, possibly moving into this role swapper, again, playing with Daihu.
Next ban for Space Station. They have banned Dahaka, and no Goku pick yet. You could put Falstad in the top lane, but that's not generally how Roll20 want to play their Falstad that we've seen on Dragonshire. So it might be possible that they could limit even further the top lane, but at the same time, Space Station doesn't exactly have their own top laner yet.
Yeah, do you focus even farther and go with things like the Maltho to try and rid up? Because, I mean, they do have that Falstad picked up, which is, you know, kind of counterintuitive. Also, light synergy with Garrosh, though we very rarely have seen the Into the Fray Dream. It is a very good tool to be able to have for yourself. So what is Space Station? Are they going to rid of it? I kind of like the idea of not just based on their flexing. So limiting hero pools doesn't seem in their best interest. Like, let's be real here. You're already limited to one support. So you really want to risk all the other roles to be pushed harder and harder and harder. It feels like your ban against Roll20 is banning you equally as hard.
Chromie ban likely means that we'll get a Prismaticism Nazebo, unless Zod.
Unless Zod.
You know. Malthael's still up for the Into the Fray Tormented Souls of Legend. I like when they Into the Fray with the Diva. Just throw the mech explosion in. It's usually Tomb when they play that, though.
Yeah, that was, and didn't we saw Team Freedom try that one time, I believe. I might be wrong about that, when they're busting out their Diva.
I think it was Even in Death.
Yeah, you could be right. We got Lieutenant Morales and the Nazebo.
Ooh.
For Prismaticism. Roll20 is hiding whatever Goku is going to be playing up in that top lane. And they still are willing to play this Falstad slow Nazebo gameplay. This is very interesting. Honestly, it's kind of a bit of a foolproof comp. You pick the Falstad to buy the time and through his gust, through his control of the map overall, and then you get the 20 of Nazebo and it's a free win, essentially, is the kind of the view of it all. I am a little bit concerned how frequent we see this out of Roll20. It makes sense here this weekend. Again, it's a strategy they've shown. Just keep running it, right? But if this is genuinely maybe them going towards the HGC finals, I am concerned if they feel like this is going to hold up continuously versus international play, because it seems a bit too repetitive from them, you know, compared to the past, much like the Leyline Seal APOC was, you know, it took MVP Black one game and they're like, all right, we're done with this. And I'm just wondering how, if they're holding too much to this core strategy, the Falstad Nazebo, or at least that Falstad global pressure play with that slow mage Prismat.
Well, we know that it's going to be probably a different meta, a far different meta by the time we get to HGC finals. So maybe in this instance too,
yeah,
there will be a long time before.
When it comes to the meta, yes, but Roll20 is one of the few teams that's originally known for they are very good at very specific strategies, so much so that it will outlast a meta. And that is my initial concern, right? Is immediately when a team goes, Nazeebo is core to our strategy, I go, you haven't played against an international team because Nazeebo doesn't get the 20 unless you are damn good at that level.
Double support for Space Station. You got Lucio Uther, just not with the Ario.
That suddenly puts so much pressure on a Spacestation Gaming, though, by going into that, right? With the macro pressure of the Gul'dan Vala now into a Nazeebo, you're on a time trap. You do not want this game to get to 20, so you double support into it? So
I don't know who's going to sit in the top. Oh, I guess it'll be a 2-1-2.
You can get a fatty. Oh, this is a great game for Johanna to go into CDR4 as well to be able to aid in those side lanes. Last pick Zeratil's not the thing we expected to see locked in here for Roll20.
It's a little different.
But not too surprising when you say the name Glarong.
It's true. But it would have normally been something like Leoric up in the top.
That's Goku, right?
I think maybe Goku will play the Falstad top.
Yeah, you're right. Last time we saw this, he was willing to let Glarong move over to the Zeratil. I was like, there's no way, and he ended up not doing it. And here I am today saying, you know, is that a chance that they flex it?
I think we maybe have had one Goku Zeratil game. Nope, I lied. Just revert it.
I cheated.
Reverse it.
Glarong, in fact, is the Zeratil.
Okay, there you go. So Goku top lane with Falstad. What was it about the double support, double ranged that we went into Zeratil instead of having? Because I think up until the point that Roll20 saw that entire composition, Roll20 were going to have Glarong play that Falstad, and then Goku play something tankier up in the top, like Malthael, something like Leoric. So what was it that made them change their mind then?
I feel like a lot of it had to come down to the fact that Lucio, Vala, and Gul'dan are all Zeratil just prime targets.
Okay.
And if you have more than one, it's pretty hard to deal with Zeratil. If you have 3 of them, I just don't see how Zeratil fails.
Okay.
But last time Glarong played Zeratil, I called him out multiple times. It was just lackluster. He was just on Dragonshire again. Didn't necessarily approach the fights and ganks the same manner. He just didn't apply that pressure we expect a world-renowned, Zeratil player like Glarong to have. And so I'm automatically going like, are you going to be able to perform a bit better and, put the fear of Zeratil into those squishies?
Well, let's see. Roll20 is already one game into the 3-0 they need to secure the top seed from North America to the HGC finals. We'll find out if they can make it a 2-0 with this game.
At level 1, though, we still got Widowmaker there on Nazeebo, so no fluctuation. Prismaticism, he's been dabbling in his level 1s, going with, I believe last time we got Toads.
We had Pandemic the game before, and then last game he got Dead Rush at 7.
Do you think he's like role-playing his organization and he just actually rolls a die to figure out his level 1 Nazeebo talent?
It's genius.
He just rolls an actual 20?
Okay, so if you have 4 talents on a tier, you roll a d20. Yeah.
You were about to cast your math and took it.
Yeah, you do the 1 through 5, right?
Yeah.
All the way up. 6 through 10, etc.
We do see Regen Master there for Daihu. Picked up at level 1. I talked about going with the Synergy at level 4, the CDR, excuse me, at level 4. And just if you're going to run a 2-1-2 and your 2 lanes are actually that dominant, anytime you can get that mid laner out of the mid lane and pressuring over to Roll20 provides a lot of time to make plays. And so I almost hope to see that here for Space Station Gaming. Flip on a Jason. Nice zombie wall traps 2 in.
Yeah, as we've seen, although Roll20 started with this hard crowd control after the pull flip combo of Justing, they started with an Uther. They have since deviated to things that do not seem humanly possible for Roll20 to be able to get kills, and yet because the synergy of the team is always there, they're able to find it somehow. Things like grenades, that was a good follow-up too. The zombie wall has worked out for Prismaticism before. Here comes another one.
Found himself Jason for the second time, and as you said, the nade follow-up, everything on course here for Roll20. They didn't gain themselves a kill, but definitely put some pressure here on Space Station in the bottom lane. The 2 members of Space Station are dominating that top lane, and you can expect them to do so probably throughout the entirety of the game. It's just how much can Roll20 make happen down here below, and if Zeratil keeps trading into the Johanna in the same manner and Johanna goes into that wave clear, I do feel like Roll20 is going to have to find somebody to escort this mid lane because there is no way Glarong can trade into her post 4 with that talent. When I say that trade into her, I mean trade into the minions, not so much the hero. Zeratil, in fact, can almost always trade into Johanna except like post 13.
Puts the onus on the bottom lane of Roll20 then to get things done. Either a pull or start the siege, take out towers, and not finding that, Justing is rotating up to hang out with Glaurung here. 4 is there. It is Eternal Retaliation.
I am so happy right now. My goodness. Can this take over just all of North America, that this JoJo level 4 gets picked up? I don't honestly objectively think it's that great, but whenever I see Johanna, you always know, I'm always going, where's the wave clear? Are you going to make up for that? Or if not, how are you going to initiate these fights? And I just am like, well, if wave clear is the only thing I can rely on, I want to double it. Make her even better so, right? And by going Eternal Retaliation, you suddenly become good to great at wave clear, and you aren't relying on essentially really anybody on your team.
Well, Dread, I I'm going to preface this with I have not looked at the changes for Johanna on PTR, but she is getting a lot of changes, so she might not even have that anymore, so I love that you're excited about a build. Oh.
That's probably going to be dead.
I don't know. It may still be there. It seems like it would still be there.
Goku, Tiger JK tracks him down. He's going to be able to survive this, but not when Justin. Go the other way.
The end.
You could just see how awkward that was for him.
Was really
he's just kind of like, I can't go this way. I'll go this way. But then he's but I'll go. Lose-lose scenario, and Space Station Gaming lose themselves a member up on the top, but they did end up getting a pick, and they're still applying pressure in the bot lane. Did he get at those giants?
Glaurung's separating Daihu from the Dragon Shrine, and this gets Roll20 a Dragonite, even though we were not certain of how the laning phase was going to go. Roll20 transitioned Justing up to the top, getting kills there, gets them the first Dragonite of the game.
And though this isn't necessarily a dominant opening from Roll20 and things of the like, when we just take a minute to just talk about draft theory before a game starts, and I paint a picture where I go, you know, the Nazebo-Zeratul composition, in fact, is dominating the laning over Johanna Gul'dan-Valla composition. You just go, that's not true, you know? You're, in fact, either playing quick match or it's just not the reality here. So it just shows that Roll20 here is just on another level. Their performance of what they've been able to make happen to pick up this Dragonite to get kills elsewhere while the Dragonite's pushing top, Glaurung 1v1s in mid, and they're winning on bottom. I mean, this is just Roll20 going, we're better. And I love it, every ounce of it, whenever teams do this.
You know what is incredible for Roll20 is Phase 1 was all about their team fighting as a group, their synergy, and the development of that. Drafting compositions that seemed damaged light, but because of their focus, because of their synergy, they were able to get kills. Now it feels like they still have that, but they're excelling even in these skirmishes, these individual levels too. And that is just, Roll20 is... They are such a great team. I'm so excited that they're going to HGC Finals.
It feels like because those core key strategies we were talking about before that they got kind of known for, it's almost as if they were playing with a bit of a handicap for some time, and now they've lifted the weight off their shoulders, and they're like, oh, wait, you're telling me we don't need to pick damage-like compositions that rely on synergy? We can just pick a bit more meta, change the draft a little bit, and suddenly things look far better. Really great into the fray.
Oh, Daihu! Throws Daihu towards Buds. Justing is going to go down. Roll20 finally bites off more than they could chew. Space Station gets a double kill. Glaurung chasing them down as far as he can. Roll20 just about to get heroic abilities, but Space Station gets an opening.
Space Station did get an opening, a bit more than, honestly, I feel like even maybe they expected they would be given at this point in time. They're still without their heroics, and they're using this window to initiate on this night camp. Immediate void.
Got the Gargantuan too. Goku off to the side. Gus him back into the spiders. The Gargantuan. Trees is the first to go down. Roll20 still making it happen.
I love it so much. Roll20 just forced that fight 2 versus 4. Got the flight down to force a 3 versus 4.
Yep.
And then abused the poor territorial situation that Space Station Gaming found themselves in and just dropped mad AoE. Brilliantly done.
Not only a 3 versus 4, but they were without their support, and their frontline warriors is 3 damage ready to go. They take this night camp. They're working on bringing down the bottom 4. Shrines are activating in 6 seconds.
It is just so satisfying to watch a team like Roll20 play Heroes of the Storm. Prismat, though, might be in a bad spot. He's getting tracked down by Tiger. He's got the heals from Buds. There's a Divine Storm. It's going to be a kill onto Prismat, but I think it's only 1 kill.
That flies in. Immediate Blessed Shield from Daihu. That was amazing. But into the fray gets Goku out. Now Justing just has to live. Hits a taunt with everybody. A gust to get Justing out, and the team saves each other.
Sorry, did you see Enter the Fray of Falstad?
Yeah.
It looks like an epic mount.
It did.
He's like, he just arms stuck out, and he just kind of plopped over the wall. I was like, did he fly? What was that?
It's like a little kid when their parent tosses them in the air,
Yeah.
and they're like, wee!
that was
Happy Friday, everyone. We're happy to be back here with you guys. This is an awesome series.
It is, in fact, an awesome series. Nope, wall landing. Justin might be the focus here. Gillywing. Oh, wow. That's going to be a full Horrify. Void, it's going to save him, but that has got to be a dead Garrosh, right?
Oh, the grenade didn't hit in time. The safeguard sound barrier used just to make sure that Garrosh goes down and everyone lives after that.
Look at Roll20. They are so just feeling themselves this game, man. Goku even flies down to mid, and he's like, can I backdoor this Dragonite? And he's like, okay, that was a bad idea.
Maybe not, maybe not.
They're definitely kind of just going, you know, this isn't fun. We're confident here. And they're just playing the game. I love to see this here. And it feels like this has been a long time since we've seen a team feel comfortable, consistent enough to be able to do this type of play. It is, I feel, far better of a sign for the North American scene than it is like a dark one. Glorong gets revealed, but Goku's always got his back. He just Gus, call it a day.
Top may be claimed by Space Station, but bottom is well in the hands of Roll20. Prismaticism and Lieutenant Morales haven't left this lane too much this game. Just happy to keep it pushed in their favor, and then letting the rotations around the picks from Glaurung, from Falstad, get into a position where they can get top and force all of Space Station to go to mid because Roll20 have the global advantage. This Bruiser camp is going to help Space Station, though. They'll have that in the top lane. That keeps that wave push so that they can rotate down and look for picks elsewhere, look for trying to get the Dragonite on their own.
This is going to be an invade for Space Station here. With the 13 talent here, possibly try and force an advantage there.
That night camp is risky with both the forts up.
Yeah, they decided that they're not going to take it. They're tracking down Glaurung. He just burnt his teleport, 100%. There's the reveal, the boot, but it's only 2 supports. He has no Void. That's going to buy a bit of time, but we need 7 more seconds here.
There's Divine Storm, and he's right next to Uther.
He did it! But for how long?
Oh, eventually does go down. Made it out from the Divine Storm, but Space Station gets the kill.
Space Station does get that kill here, and now they need to, you know, translate that over to a bit of map pressure. Paint this map red, not through blood, not through team fights, but in fact through minions, through peace, you know. Try and extend a hand out, you know. Nobody's asking you to brawl, nobody's asking you to team fight.
An olive branch.
Extend it here.
I think they're going to try to paint it with blood.
Yeah,
they want the blood.
That was rude.
What's been used here?
Gus
Blessed Shield
Flight.
already. Condemn pulls him out of the flight. It wasn't the change yet where it puts you on a 10-second cooldown, but even with that, Space Station take out Falstad, and the staggered deaths have started to roll in for Roll20, getting the kill on Zeratul, then Falstad just as Zeratul pops back up. The nice thing for Roll20, bottom lane has constantly been pretty easy for them to keep a hold of, making sure that Space Station doesn't get the Dragonite, but Roll20 need to stabilize here.
Roll20 does need to stabilize. They have honestly been frequently punished here by Space Station Gaming. They might be able to afford 1 Dragonite less, but we are getting to late enough death timers that playing with their food may not be in their best interest. We also have to consider that Space Station Gaming, considering the composition that Roll20 has developed, that they don't want the game to get to the 20 threshold. And so even though, yes, Roll20 isn't overly proactive and is kind of, again, playing with their food a bit, it doesn't feel like it's that big of a risk because once 20 clicks, Roll20 just goes, okay, that's game.
Space Station got the Giants in the bottom, but because everyone headed up to the top, because Daihu had found Glaurung, nobody was really pushing along with them too much. Now they're starting to get to the halfway point. Gul'dan is there. The rest want to rotate in. They want to push back Roll20 and their presence in this bottom lane. But then Roll20 just shows up to the top lane and gets that shrine too. Space Station is going to have to get some structures down. They're going to have to equalize out the lanes and the advantage that Roll20 has, or they're going to have to get enough picks with those longer respawn timers if they're going to get a Dragonite.
They're gonna have, yeah. You're painting, you are giving them the correct direction to be able to move into. It just doesn't look like Space Station necessarily is going to really regroup and maybe make that an action. Instead, it seems like it's going to be just 5-man here on bottom. But we have to keep in mind that Zeratul Falstad on top is faster to this race. They're,
Yes.
I mean, just flat out winning it. So much so that Space Station has to back to answer to them, not the other way around. Unless they catch Prismat.
Iron Skin, Blessed Shield, Condemn pulls in. Bud's still there with the heals, using Safeguard, keeps him alive.
Flight.
4 or 5 pushes
Oh,
back in, but the Gust drops 5 people on top of Prismaticism. The taunt, though, Sound Barrier and Divine Storm now.
Zeratul?
Garrosh might go down, but Bud's
Void.
keeping him alive. The healing from Bud's with the Garrosh.
Zeratul buys 5 seconds of time. Goku's got a huge Q. He throws it in, hitting all 5, but nobody goes down. Glarung on the chase. He finds himself a Casanova, but the pressure is there as the fort goes down. Glarung secures a second. He gets the heal beam from Buds, and now this is just Space Station Gaming wishing that they were not here on planet Earth any longer. They are going to go 5 for nothing. Roll20. Oh, excuse me. That was a 5 for 1. That was, they got a kill, but Roll20 is just unstoppable. It is just, they started that fight so disadvantaged and once again abused the crowd control between the Falstad Zeratul that they're just, it feels like they're merely deciding to show mercy if Space Station Gaming is on their side of the court.
Now, Space Station were willing to be aggressive in the way that we know Space Station is, right? Space Station's willing to take risks, and they dove really far in to take out Prismaticism, and they did get the kill. But then Garrosh and Morales is disgusting.
Yeah, it's
so
gross.
disgusting. The healing beam when it's on him and the armor and how effective that makes him. He sat there tanking. I think he had a 5-man taunt, just tanking away while the rest of the team moved into position to get those kills. Then the Void Prison came out. Finally, Roll20 gets another Dragon Knight. But Space Station started out with the good idea. They needed some structural damage. They were trying to equalize out the lanes. Unfortunately for them, Roll20 was able to get the top 4 and come in for the team fight win, now over a level ahead of Space Station.
Now they're going to march towards that bottom lane and maybe even synergize. Justin, though, caught out. That's a lot of pressure. No support there. The Divine Storm goes down. He does end up using the double down, and unless Morales can get to him, no, she cannot. That is Justin dead, but Daihu falls down below there. There's still a Dragon Knight. Keep in mind that is Glarung. He has Void if he needs. Talking Trees, quick to fall, but no interrupt on that Dragon. I thought for a moment Glarung might interrupt it, teleport Void, and just secure more kills to essentially gain more time onto that Dragon Knight by having Space Station Gaming dead, but they're going to keep it up. We have 10 seconds left, and then we'll see what he ends up making happen.
Man, that was an insane fight on 2 levels, multiple levels, for Roll20 to still get those 2 kills. Singularity Spike doesn't hit, so there's no way to get on top of Tiger JK. Glarung will leave, the rest of the team leaves, taking out the first keep, and just about to get to 20.
Little awkward at first, but, you know, gets the job done here. Jason stuck up into that Nazebo wall. Good nade coming out from Buds, maybe booping him a bit too far out, but they got the job done once more. You know, Sound Barrier's forced. Glarung teleports away.
You want to run away once you see that Johanna is on your tail with the Blessed Shield. But Casanova falls low. Goku wants that kill so badly.
He keeps himself alive with that level 13.
Cloud finally kills him, and now it's the Glarung versus Tiger JK show. We have seen Tiger JK go into these 1v1s before.
Daihu drops, Gust used. Goku's got the auto attacks. The beam's not enough to keep up Zeratul, but Goku, he is doing work there on that stim drone Falstad. 4 members of Space Station are dead. With that grenade, second one from Buds. Almost not a 5th, but he ends up falling, and this is it. Roll20 took him 15 minutes and 38 seconds. There were a couple of blips here and there. But with pretty good control, they take game number 2 over Space Station.
Justing even into the Frayed, a minion, just to get the slow on that last kill too. And the core falls. Roll20 doing what they do on Dragonshire with the type of composition, gets a second win over Space Station Gaming. And if they can 3-0, like we said, they will take the number 1 spot from North America at the HGC Finals. Super important for them if they're able to get that.
Yeah, 1 game away, and that could be all she wrote. I'm just saying I need more into the Frey Fall stats. That's the biggest thing I think I learned off that Dragonshire game, is that animation just looks way too funny for me to not see. I feel like, yeah, it's just like, take a little kid, you know, he's like, and he thinks he can run so fast that like he actually will take off. And then when, you know, by the point he gets to exhaustion, he's like, oh, I'm not taking off. And he's just like, oh, what if I leap, right? That's what Falstad looks like. Whenever he does that little leap to be like, this is it. And then you're like, and I'm back on ground.
Thankfully, Swiftbeak is more like a cat. He can land on his feet and not so much on his face like I think your kid would do in that example.
Or me.
Yeah, that did sound weirdly specific, like maybe someone's run
repressed
into that
memory.
before.
Don't worry about it, boys.
Well, I think Space Station will be wanting to repress maybe the last game. There were some misfirings there, but at the same time, they're having a lot of fun. They're up against Roll20. They're getting the experience in. They're playing with the sub, and Daihu still playing very well, as we know from him. We're gonna go to a commercial break. After the break, we'll see if Roll20 closes out the series.